Okay, so I'm here at the Arizona Bowl. Kayce Smith is with me. Kayce, we had a question. Well, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic. We're here. We didn't get it canceled this year, so that's good. I'm happy to be here. It's been babysitting the boys all week, but because it's like a playground for them.
All right, so Kayce, we're in the Q&A section of today, and the question we got was, I'm looking for a new job, but I'm pregnant and due in a couple months. Should I still be applying? And I was like, this is perfect for you. Are a resident expert right now.
Well, I feel like I already knew what job I was having, so I feel like I should ask you as somebody who would hire me. Would you want?
Definitely.
So I think you should keep looking because you're eventually going to want a job. But I also don't know. I mean, this is maybe me being ignorant. It's like, do people look at that and say like, well, when can you start? Like, is that the first question that people would ask?
So first of all, I think that I took a job pregnant. I took a new job pregnant, and then I just didn't tell anyone for like 7 months and hid my pregnancy, which probably wasn't the best. But whatever.
You can do it. You can do that.
I mean, I tried hard.
I can't do it anymore.
No, yeah.
So.
I'm like, that's why I was like, is Kayce talking about her pregnancy? I'm like, obviously you are.
Yes.
But then I'm like, and obviously there's no hiding it.
No hiding it. Yeah. It is full blown.
Full blown here.
We're
having a baby.
Yes.
So I think that you should, as a woman, always apply for a job that you want. If you're interested in getting a new job, you should go take a new job. I think your employer is going to ask the question. The future employer is going to be like, in their head, when can you start? But I also think that's something you could like head off at the pass, and you would say, hey, I'm interested in this job. I have great experience, whatever. I'm due in February or whatever it may be. And I would be able to start in June or whatever. You could just say it ahead of time and not make a mystery of it.
I feel like it would handle a lot of the stress you probably have, because if you need to get a job, you're not going to want to go look for a job when you have a newborn.
Right.
I haven't had one yet, but I can imagine that's not a lot of fun. Yeah. You have a lot of other things on your mind. Also, and I know you've probably dealt with this too, it's like just because you're having a baby doesn't make you like unable to do real life things. You're not a sick person. I know a lot of people deal with sickness. Yeah. But it's like, I'm still just me. I just happen to be having a baby.
You're me with a child inside.
Yes. So like I can still do my job. I can still look at my job. I still have to pay my bills. I still have to help support my family.
Life goes on.
Life goes on, so I'm not fragile. You don't need to wrap me in bubble wrap. I can go look for a job. So I would say doing it now is probably much better for everybody across the board, because you can say, hey, like, I know I'm not going to be able to start for a couple months, but I'm the best candidate for this. I think I'm the best. Let me do it whenever I'm settled back into the world.
I agree with that. Pregnant women are not sick and do not need to be bubble wrapped. It's annoying.
It is. And I like the like small parts of it where, people do protect you a little bit more.
It's nice to get a seat on the train.
Yes. When they stand up, you're like, oh man.
God bless you. Yeah.
Thank you. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not like unable to just be a human being. Things are a little bit harder. Yeah. It takes a little bit longer to do things, but that doesn't mean you can't look for a job, especially if that's a job you want.
I agree. Okay. My next question for you, Kayce. First time mom, how do you find the motivation for your job the same way you did before you had children? Are you worried about that?
I am a little bit worried about that. The good news for my situation was the timing really worked out well for me, since college football and the NFL is so heavy for my job. As you know, we travel all the time. So I'm due on Super Bowl Sunday, which gives me time to recover.
This kid is the best already.
It's the most cliche thing. I didn't even realize it was Super Bowl Sunday until I think it was Dan or Brandon, and I said it, and they're like, did you do that on purpose? I was like, well, absolutely not. But that means he's not going to, my son's not going to come on Super Bowl Sunday. But for me, it's knowing that I have the time to recover and play mom for a little bit, stay home on maternity leave, but be full blown back by the time football season starts. But there is an element of, I don't know what it's like to care for a human yet. I don't know what it's like to be a mom and to take on that burden. My boyfriend will go back to work much sooner than I do. So how do you balance that? I think you kind of figure it out.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, no, I think you
figure
it out. Yes, you're going to figure it out. You're going to figure it out. You're definitely going to figure it out.
Oh, that's good.
You're going to figure it out. You have it all figured out.
I'm trying. I've been told a million times from both moms and dads that it's all instinct, right? That it'll kick in. Dan has said that to me so many times, like, oh, you figure it out. I'm like, but maybe I'm the one person that won't. The good news is that working here, it's like I know that there's so much support behind it and the timing. If this happened during the football season, that would be very, very stressful because obviously, first and foremost, my family, my baby, but also knowing that my main
you have so much FOMO.
Oh my God, the FOMO would be crazy. I'm sure if like looking at my baby, I'd be like, okay, this is more important than babysitting Dan, Dave, Brandon, and Deion Sanders all the time.
That's different, really.
I've had a lot of practice.
Yeah, you really have. You're well
Those have been the really funny comments this
Yep.
football season from people. It's like, you're going to be a great mom. You've had so much work with
you're
grown
like
men
a
for the last
constant
5 years.
babysitter.
Like,
That's right.
but
I think that so one is that I think when you have a baby, you can expect that everything changes and nothing changes. You know what I mean? And it's not like all at once. Like you do bring this thing home from the hospital and you're like, oh my God, how am I allowed? Like,
how did they let you leave? How do they let you
it's
leave?
scary. You like
with a
put them
tiny
in the
little
car and you're
thing
like, are
and-
they letting me go with this?
With no pamphlet
Yeah,
or like
completely
instructions.
like
they just say go.
License or something. Yeah. I
Like,
agree with
you're gonna
that.
let my boyfriend drive us home? Like,
Yeah.
are we sure
He's
he
a
can do
terrible
this? I
driver.
know, right? What are we doing?
But I think that everything changes and nothing changes. And then I also think your motivation is going to change where one, you have to make room for something else. It's kind of like in your body when you're pregnant, you're like making room for this thing. Your life makes room for a baby. But that doesn't mean that you won't have a drive to work or you won't have a drive to be on air, or everything may change and nothing may change. But to your point, you're going to figure it out when you're there, and it all kind of works itself out.
The balance is something that I've always admired that people do. We've talked about it. I've been on this podcast plenty before saying like, oh, I admire people can do it. I'm never going to do it, but I admire you.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. So I love the fact that so many women have shown that they can do it. There are a lot of dads that have shown that they can be a stay-at-home dad, just like a stay-at-home mom can be as well. So I like the fact that now we kind of live in a society where it's like, hey, you know what? Do whatever you want, whatever roles you want to be, you can do them. But I think you have to like live through that because even just being pregnant and working is wildly different. And it's like, I have to remind myself, hey, by the way, you need to rest.
Yeah.
I'll get home from things sometimes. Like when we did the doubleheader of the college football show this year, I was right at the end of my second trimester and all day I'm just go, go, go. And as soon as I sat down, every ounce of my body hurt. It
Just hurt.
It just hurt. Every ounce hurt. I think I threw up just from like the nerves. And I was like, oh shit, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, like,
I gotta take it a little bit
easy.
easy.
Yeah.
So I can imagine once you're a mom, you do have to take those into consideration more so than you would, but that doesn't mean you can't do your job. So fingers crossed.
All right. I love that.